don't read the newspapers.
Oh, right. That may be a bit of a drawback, you might find.
Well, it was a drawback last time, 5.5 years ago, so I have read the
Is it that long since you're on?
Darling, I have been waiting for you to invite me back. 5.5 years I've had to wait.
Really? Not long enough.
No.
So you would be in charge of the smooth running of
yes,
the
all right.
programme?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
OK. As illustrated by this up-to-the-minute report on the Middle East crisis.
And I've been talking to Tony Benn. He has often criticised the United States in the past. I asked him what he made of this. Oh dear, I'm sorry. We obviously have a problem there. That was the wrong
thing. They were actually Mongolian people singing through their throats.
That explains it all, yes.
By some mischance, we pressed
the wrong button. Yes.
Tony Benn afterwards said it was a conspiracy, and actually wrote to the BBC saying that he believed that it was a deliberate attempt to make him look stupid.
There he is. Somebody's hissing. You can't help but laugh, can you? He's guilty. Read my lips. He's guilty. He went to prison and he found that it meant being locked in.
And bars.
And it's full of convicts. Transfer him to the open-air prison this week. Next week, put him back to Lincoln. So he's been an administrative error.
But I think Paul should be the governor.
Yeah, I'll be the governor. I'll be the governor. Where do I apply? Be the governor.
The last governor, Geoffrey Archer, was caught breaking his leave arrangement. The governor said, well, he promised me that he wouldn't break his arrangement. You think, he was in for perjury.
How was he punished? What was his punishment for...
One of his books was read to him.
He's banged up in prison. You're banged up in prison. It's awful. And you get yourself out and you smell freedom in your nostrils. And what do? You go to Gillian Shepherd's house for dinner? I think I'd rather be buggered in the cell blocks.
Christine, have you ever been to Gillian Shepherd's party?
No, I've never been to Gillian Shepherd's. Just for the record, we've never been to Geoffrey Archer's shepherd's pie and champagne parties either, because he's not one of my favourite people, never has been.
Why didn't you like him?
Because I met him about a week after he'd been elected the youngest Member of Parliament, and I thought, what a bumptious, obnoxious, self-important, over-opinionated prig. That was when I was...
So you're not always wrong?
I was 18. Well, listen, it was the same conference where I met my husband, you see, so...
You can't win them all, can you?
It's been a long week.
There was some astonishing...
At least I've been faithful.
Insight.
You've unleashed the nuclear deterrent earlier.
So you were a bit of a rebel at school, weren't you, Christine?
Yes, of course I was. I've been a rebel all my life.
Didn't your mother say that you never work out whether you were expelled or not?
You don't want to believe what my mother says. Goodness me, Granny, crikey. She's an unguided missile.
So it's genetic, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And how does she refer to Major in the diaries?
As B, isn't he? It's a secret code, B.
Yeah.
She described the character B as a risk-taker who liked to walk on the edge. So, no great surprise that we never twigged that it was John Major she was talking about.
If you were a man, Ian, I mean,
Yes.
if you were a man...
Yes.
I mean, if Angus is any of... Well, you're all men, aren't you? Gosh, I've only just realised. If you were a man... would you sleep with Edwina rather than Claire Latimer?
You see, not being in the Conservative Party, it's not actually compulsory for us.
What part are you playing in the pantomime?
I'm the good fairy, of course.
What is Neil playing?
Is he wishy-washy?
No, wishy-washy isn't in Jack and the Beanstalk.
He's not playing the Beanstalk.
No. He's the King of Merrydale.
King of Merrydale.
Right.
Is that an elected post?
point was that you were supposed to have everything vetted by the BBC, weren't you?
Yeah.
That you wrote in The Guardian?
Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
Well, we all know what BBC stands for, don't we?
What's that?
Oh, here it comes.
Are you ready? Are you ready for this, boys and girls? The Good Fairy's going to tell you what the BBC... What does it stand for? The Good Fairy. What does the BBC stand for?
Buggers Broadcasting Communism. Must have heard that. It's
Have
hardly
you seen
original.
Question Time with David Dimbleby? I wish I was on that bloody island.
Well, you shouldn't mention the Dimblebys in front of Rod.
Why?
Ask him.
I've done to the Dimblebys. How does she know that I've done something with the Dimblebys and I don't? What did I do with them?
Come on, we better move on.
Well, do you want to clear your name?
Can I sue her?
The answer is that they were all asked to take part in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here
Except
Neil.
for disgraced former Tory MP Neil Hamilton.
Hang on, wait a moment. Would you
Quite
mind
right.
cutting out the word
No,
disgrace
that's-
when you refer to my husband in
Certainly,
future?
I will
Fire-
never
He's
mention the word
disgraced, what are you?
Exactly. Disgraced, I think. Though I haven't banged on about family values for the last 7 years.
Do you know who else they approached? That's
Who's
Edwina.
that then?
I think they approached an awful lot of people
No, they did.
before they finally found people that said yes.
I turned it down, first of all, in April, for a variety of reasons, and then they came back to me about a month before they were going and said, please, will you change your mind? We really want you to come. We need a mother hen.
Translated as, we can't find anybody. Nobody else will do it.
And
What
can
do you actually do all day? Just sit around?
We had to get the water, we had to cook the food, we had to do trials, I had to clean the loo.
I saw you hugging and crying and then people going
You had to eat the
and
pizzas that were
crying
brought to you after filming had finished?
So is it not true that they delivered pizzas to you?
Well, I can't blow all the gaff. If you don't want me to blow the gaff about this show, you can't expect me to blow the gaff about that
What's
one.
the gaff about this
What's the
show?
gaff about this show?
Your time starts now.
There's something to
What
do
is
with
it?
the Dimblebys or something.
I don't know the difference between the Dimblebys, and I never discovered the difference between ant and deck either. I still get them in a muddle.
One's a very small insect and the other one's very popular in gardens.
What a growing threat.
12-foot pigeon. 12-foot pigeon is a growing threat. It's been barging its way into off licences, demanding bottles of beer. Oh, a bottle of beer. Well, what size is that pigeon? Give us the money. They go, coo! 12-foot pigeon. You've seen it, haven't you?
Well, you can have 1 point as it includes the word pigeon.
Yeah.
Pigeon fancier's lung is the answer. This is a condition pigeon fanciers suffer from, defined as an allergic reaction to pigeons.
They shouldn't be smoking them. You get this pigeon coming, you saw nobody's looking. You can't muck around with nature. Isn't this a rare case of somebody resigning for the sake of the programme? Government. Government.
Yeah.
Government. Not programme, government. I meant government, I said programme, but I should have said government. Not programme, forget programme, just government.
easy mistake to make.
Really, was it? Sounded like it needed quite a lot of organisation where I was sitting. There's a phone calls, there's a knocks at the
A
door.
lot of stamina too.
Could I talk about Estelle Morris just briefly? Is that okay?
Yes, certainly.
I'd rather hear about the sordid details, though,
Yeah, I
if you
bet
would
you
mind.
So would
Just
I,
a
actually, to be
little
honest.
bit, go on.
Yeah.
Just a tiny
If
bit.
I knew what they were, I'd tell you, I promised.
That's as unconvincing as anything I've ever heard. Yes, let's talk about politics. The stream of sleaze can wait.
Yes.
The selection of newspapers there with the cut-out details, the things that were cut out was the name of the man behind this accusation, and Sky Television and ITN have named him, but the BBC have got a policy at the moment of not naming him, so I can't give you the answer you're looking for. It wasn't you, was it?
be fair, I think that this is as intellectual a television programme as you will find.
How dare you? You've come along as a guest and you badmouth us like that.
I thought the whole point about being a guest here was either to badmouth or be badmouthed. And calling this programme an intellectual programme was as low as I could sink.
Yes. We're following Fame Academy, come on.
Apparently the winner of that's going to host this show. Do you know that? Do you know about that? Happening, apparently.
But that doesn't finish for months.
Oh, no, it must be wrong, then.
Yeah.
This is the imminent firemen's strike, with the government rejecting their 40% claim. The Times looked back to the previous winter of discontent in 1979, a time when newspapers failed to appear and no one knew what was going on. Suits me.
Well, you'd rather people didn't know what you were up to?
That was the sort of joke, Ian, to be honest.
It's not terribly funny, though, is it? It was that most people in Britain in a survey knew who the people from Big Brother were, and they had no idea who the Cabinet were. They could name Phil Mitchell from EastEnders, but they didn't know who Saddam Hussein was.
They did know who Tony Blair was. They knew who Tony Blair was more than they knew Big Brother. 83%.
Really, that's fantastic. He's better known than Jade.
But at this moment, not as well known as the name of the man whose name we can't name in this programme,
Yes.
whose name is known to everybody who isn't watching this programme.
I'd never heard of him at the beginning of this week.
And yet you'd heard of Jade.
Yes. It's reading the papers. You find out the most interesting things about people.
So I let a robot what?
Host my quiz show. And there was a significant improvement.
Is it...
Relentless. Yes.
Says the voice of the people. Or was that the news of the world?
I don't think they say that.
Is she a friend of yours, Angus? That's right, love. It's only another 20 minutes to go.
And if you've got a friend, you're both in luck.
That strange feeling of deja vu.
Believe you me,
The rest of the country.
Operate on my knee. And lastly, and what cure diarrhea? Quiz show host. No.
Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News For You. We'd like to apologise for the recording fault in last week's episode. It should have ended like this.
Good night.
Raised quizzical eyebrow. The bookies are already offering odds on as to who will be replacing Angus on a full-time basis. 3-1 John Sargent, 6-1 Stephen Fry, 150-1 Michael Barrymore. It's got to be worth a flutter, isn't it? On Paul Merton's team tonight are comedian Ross Noble and journalist and broadcaster Andrew Neil. I've got a feeling you're going to do quite well tonight. What else blew away in the storms then? Did anybody else hear about this? I'll give you a clue. An inflatable Ronald McDonald.
Is it an inflatable Ronald
Yes, you're right.
Right then, OK.
Very quickly there,
I
Ross.
think we're going to win, mate.
Yeah. It was true. It was 25 foot tall. It blew onto a line. Apparently, it was the wrong kind of inflatable clown. What was it? Any other freak happenings in this storm?
Bearded ladies punching people.
Bearded ladies punching people. Extra point. That certainly happened. It is a different show, isn't it?
How does he know that?
I don't know.
It didn't happen under the old regime. Sorry.
No, it didn't. No. Well, Daddy's dead. Well, the way she handled it, she went onto a TV comedy programme and tried to laugh it off. Never fails.
This was the exhibition, I think, that the Minister for Culture attacked, saying it was conceptual bullshit.
That's right. That's what he said.
Yeah, I heard that on the radio
I don't know what that is.
I thought, I don't want to hear the word
It's like-
bullshit on the BBC.
What,
I don't want
bullshit?
people saying bullshit on the
Bullshit?
BBC.
No, imagine
Well,
the
they
word
turn the
bullshit
radio
on
off.
the BBC.
Don't talk bullshit.
That's 5 bullshits on the BBC so far. I'm not being personal.
But he's including himself.
Oh, I am including myself. Oh, it's a democracy as far as bullshit goes.
And also, the joke doesn't work otherwise, does it?
No. What are the entries then? You've talked about a couple of them. What are they?
One was it was like yeah. It was just I thought if I go
You're
long
about-
enough, it was
You're about as articulate as the artist.
Yeah, it was kind of. It was just it was a.
Can I take over? It was
No,
the
no, no.
writing on
I'll
the wall.
tell you, it was. It was right. It was. It was. It was
inflatable.
Shut up! It was a pornographic scribbling thing called Arse Woman and Buttland, and it was.
No. Ask Woman in Wonderland, actually.
Oh, right.
You see, it was a pun on Alice in Wonderland. That's a sort of artist's
You
pun.
see, I'm a touch dyslexic. That's lost on me.
Were at the motor show,
Yes.
and they were singing one of their recent hits,
Yes.
the name of which temporarily escapes me, to advertise a new car.
They launched the new MG Atomics, but you'll get a point for that. Atomic, that was what it was.
Was it named after them?
I don't know.
Right.
And-
I like that. That's refreshing.
Yeah.
Because your predecessor always pretended he did.
No, I don't know, and frankly, I don't care. You're in the right area, Ian, but do you want to... Have you picked an odd one out?
OK, I'll go for Jonathan Dimbleby.
Why?
Or Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew's the answer. Prince Andrew's the odd one out because he's not there.
Oh, yeah.
How many years have you been playing this game, Ian? And Thatcher's head there, what happened to her statue recently for a point?
Well, it was attacked.
Attacked?
And decapitated.
That's brilliant. That's like that should win the Turner Prize.
That's eternity, isn't it?
Because the great thing about that is you can go to an art gallery, and if you're bored, you can put your own head behind it. And, you know. So there should be another one with the bag open, so your friend can be popping out the bag.
Well, it's only a matter of time, I'm sure. How many blows did it take to knock the head off Thatcher's statue?
Oh.
Two, Ian says. And what was used?
Was it a ruler?
No.
A ruler?
I think
King
it was
Hussein of
was it an
Jordan.
enraged teacher who was
Yep.
furious about Mrs Thatcher for the last few decades, and he just lost it and attacked her with... Was it a cricket bat?
Cricket bat and then a metal pole.
Was it?
So he walked into the gallery with a cricket bat and a metal pole.
Where is the statue of Margaret Thatcher, he asked.
Over there, sir.
Would you like to borrow a stepladder? It's a document you need when you go travelling.
Passports.
Passport. Ian was the first in there. Passport, that is the
They
correct
all look
answer.
the same. That'd be hopeless, wouldn't it?
Well, it was
Going through.
getting the photograph done and they're going to the little boob's going to be a bit of a trouble, isn't it? Stick your arse in, it doesn't matter. And finally, BBC TV host sacked in what? Scandal?
Is it monkey shaving? Oh, no
Unless-
one was meant to know about that.
We're not
was
meant
it?
to... When you've ever shaved a monkey in anger, you know it's not easy.
Heavy horse?
Heavy horse, good answer.
Isn't it a trick?
Isn't
It
it
was
a
just
trick?
one of the papers doing this round. So, in fact, there is just a blob.
Let's have a look at that. You're right, Ian. Well done. Point to you. Very good. So we're coming to the end of my stint here. As Andrew, by the way, do you fancy doing the job I'm doing at the moment?
Well, actually, I've just heard in my ear that I am.
Well, you're in the running, you know. You're in
Yeah,
the
it's
betting.
25 to 1 today.
How are you with autocue?
Not bad, actually.
Not bad.
Is that what you get if you win? You get to come back and host the show.
That's what's happening now. That's what's happening now.
Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News For You. My name is Anne Robinson and I'm in charge this week, even though I haven't actually watched this programme since 1995. And here's why.
Have you seen her wink on Points of View lately, Anne Robinson? Is that her name? It's sort of turned into this curious sort of like...
Still no hard feelings. Let's have a quick look at the scores so far. That's Paul and John 0 and Ian and John 5.
Apparently he had all this stuff of Diana's, which he wasn't meant to have, and then the Queen suddenly said, oh, hang on a minute, I've just remembered, he said, told me he had it. And there was a curious meeting between the two of them where she warned him off. She said, listen, there's people out there. Listen,
I'm not saying anything, you know, but mine, there you go. All right, son. Nice little butler's outfit you got there. Wouldn't like to see anything happen with it, know what I mean? Anyway, mine, there you go.
This was only the story of the meeting as described in the Mirror. This was their big lead. He remembered that the Queen had said, watch out, there are dark forces. It's quite a feeble story for 300 grand, really, I thought.
You used to work for the Mirror.
I did indeed.
Yes, so.
Never mind.
You used to get 250 grand, didn't you?
That's true.
From Robert Maxwell, wasn't it?
Yes, indeed, I did.
Still, he's dead now, isn't he?
He is indeed. Thank
Yes.
goodness.
That's not what you said afterwards.
Just to move swiftly on.
I bet.
Theresa May, you know, she's chairman
She's
now.
an
She's chairman of the party.
lady,
The Tories would only have
An
a chairman.
attractive lady.
You know when you're getting really old, when you fancy the leader of the Conservative Party. That
John, you actually have some experience of other Tory women, don't you?
Oh, what's this then?
Haven't you spent a
Is
weekend
this the Edwina
with
Curry
Whittaker?
story we missed?
It was dark. She just kept saying, John, John. I did spend a weekend with Anne Widdecombe, is what you're alluding to. No, it was a sort of murder mystery thing called Crime Team. They rang me up and said, you know, would you like to spend 3 days in a luxury hotel with a female novelist? I said, oh, that sounds good. Which female novelist are you thinking of for me? And they said, well, we got you with Anne Widdecombe. And the sight of the sound man threading the microphone wire down her front, that will stay with me for a very long time.
Is she doing pantomime this year?
She's on with the Hamiltons at Guildford.
Yes.
John Simpson,
It's
you've
behind
liberated a country, but have you ever spent a weekend with Anne Widdecombe?
I've done many things.
You're stumbling there.
I've done many terrible things in my life, but I've never spent a weekend with, or any time at all with Anne Widdecombe. Do I get a point for this?
No, it's very hard for your side to get points. Do you want me to recap on the scores at this point?
Do you like, love? We've got a lot of people to see, so you can keep it coming.
Right, just to recap, this is Ian
IDS.
Duncan. Don't interrupt, please.
Well, this is the Queen, isn't it?
Yes.
The other Queen.
This is Posh, her attempting to sing, quick stopper.
These are alleged kidnappers.
Of her and the child. The Queen's behind it all. She's behind it all. She's
Do you think Doc Hart?
Yeah, get me Posh Becks, I mean. She's usurping my popularity. I don't like it.
Do you think the shoes might have helped if you'd had a pair of kitten heels? Sort of leopard skin.
Bank.
That's another round done. Let's have a look at the scores. Yes, Paul and John 7, Ian and John 12. Paul and John, your chance to catch up with the
I
first.
don't think we're going to with you keeping the scores.
Oh, I don't know if I mentioned Robert Maxwell another 5 times. Oh, that's only once. Robert Maxwell. You know, it was the anniversary of his death the other day.
I know, sad.
Were you celebrating?
No.
I sometimes think he looks awfully good on the top of a pyre.
So we'll have another look at the scores now. That's Ian and John 12. That's Paul and John 13.
It's a very good night, the night Maxwell went.
So that's Ian and John 12. That's Paul and John 14.
Other
I
people
think we'll
celebrate
get on
Guy
now.
Fawkes night. I celebrate Guy Drowned night.
For an extra point, what about the national cycling team of Kenya? What happened to
what
them?
about the national cycling?
They were caught using the M61 as a practice track shortly before the Commonwealth Games. So, yes, the answer is they've all been charged with speeding, apart from...
I've never understood that bit of the game.
No, neither have I. I mean, I'm just saying it to see what happens.
I'm glad you watched the game.
I only watch it for the last 5 minutes because The Simpsons comes on immediately afterwards. see a bit of animation on the television screen?
I've got that game at home.
What game have you got
It's
at
the
home?
weakest link game. And you sort of press it to start, and this voice comes on, which is your voice, and you can just turn it off whenever you
Let's get on.
Sorry.
Neville,
Sorry,
thank
Mrs.
you.
Robinson. Sorry, Mrs. Robinson. I'm sorry.
It's Trevor MacDonald wins trust vote. He came first, Ian, and you came fourth.
Well, I'm flattered.
Well, you should be, actually, because you were 1 point ahead of Richard and Judy and Ali G.
Well, obviously I was amazed I won. I was absolutely amazed. But I think Ian made a tactical mistake by continually mentioning Bob Maxwell. I think, you know, that was his mistake. But I think, you know, in the end, the best man won. I mean, what more can I say?
No, I mean, I don't mind losing at all. It's a bit of fun, isn't it? It's just telly, it's just a quiz. And the fact that a whole load of questions about carp on a topical news quiz, you know, so what? It's just fun, isn't it? I mean, who loses, who wins, doesn't matter. It's just fun. It's fun.
What happened as this wonderful man, this professor, made the first incision?
A gasp from the crowd. They all went,
Yeah.
like that, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. They went like, ah! Like that. And it turned out that the bloke's dead.
Has anyone been to this Body Worlds exhibition?
Yes.
Ian?
Have you been? Did you pay money to go?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Never.
Well, you
And I
paid.
watched it live on Channel 4 last night.
Oh, yuck.
When he
Oh,
cut the
Ian.
heart open and he took the congealed blood out of one of the
Oh,
ventricles
God.
and said, "This is congealed blood." It was very, very exciting.
I'm looking at you in a new light now. I
Yes.
thought you were a twinkly, lovely little person, and I'm worried now.
I'm just interested in the science of a man cutting people up for money.
Right, okay.
Isn't it art?
It is rather beautiful, though. There's the shape of a human male, just with arteries, so it's red and floating. And you go in there, and it's just
Oh,
dead
what's your
arteries.
house like?
The idea is to charge more money for your university education. And Margaret Hodge came out with this wonderful phrase. She said, "Why should dustmen subsidise the doctor?" This is a member of the Labour Party. Hadn't occurred to her that the dustman might need to ring up a doctor one day. Do you resent subsidising my education?
You had an education. This is the Queen meeting. There's gone to James Bond films. You meet Pierce Brosnan. Then Madonna saying to her, "And what do you do?" This is the England coach being taken in to meet the Queen as well. There's Sven meeting the Queen. She's got no idea who she's meeting.
Doesn't know.
Which part did you play? She says David Beckham. She still thinks she's seeing the film. And there's a toy boy for the night. It's the Queen. The Queen's gone mad. And we've got to keep it quiet. She's gone completely bonkers.
But did she spot Ashley Cole there, do you think, wearing trainers?
I didn't spot Ashley Cole. Did she?
No.
Was he?
Who does Ashley
the
Cole
film.
play for? Ian?
Ashley Cole, he plays for football.
He plays for Football United.
I think that's near enough.
It's got to be worth the
We
point.
move on now. What was the Queen going to see? What did she see this week?
Unite or die.
Die Another Day.
Diane, and what does that mean?
Nothing. They don't mean anything, the titles. Can you remember the last titles of the James Bond movies? I can't.
Tomorrow
but you
Never
can,
Knows.
you can remember the Sean Connery ones, though. But not
You only
anything
live
after
twice?
that. Yeah, that's Sean Connery, though.
Live and
Tomorrow
let
is not
die.
enough. You want today as well?
The world is quite big, or have I got that wrong?
They've got an invisible car in this one.
What would be the point of having an invisible car? Wouldn't the villains just chase somebody who's doing 80 miles an hour in a seated position?
No, you do. Once you're in it, you're invisible as well.
But you're invisible as well?
Yeah,
You
once
can't
you go
see
in the
into
car.
the car.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So once you're in, you can't.
It's all illusionism. The surface of the car reflects the light in such a way that you cannot see it.
How do you feel it with petrol?
Very difficult.
It's invisible too, just like you are when you're in it.
But you drive an invisible car into a petrol station, you get out, suddenly everybody goes, "Where's that bloke come from?"
Exactly, but you...
Then you've got to, he's got the poor sod's got to try and find the petrol cap.
No, but you can turn it off.
Oh,
So then suddenly a car materialises in the forecourt of the petrol station.
Oh, right, I see. OK.
What about Prince Charles? Why wasn't
I'm
he...
actually sitting in an invisible car at the moment. Prince Charles.
Wasn't at the premiere, was he? What was he doing?
Having sex with a goat. State secret, sorry, we're not meant to tell you that. He was though, wasn't he? You know
Sex with a goat, that's one suggestion. Ian, from your team, what's the
There was an
suggestion?
invisible goat, apparently.
So can you think of any other faces?
Oh, loads of American actresses.
Loads of American actresses.
Catherine Deneuve and Beyonce Knowles.
Very good.
Beyonce.
It rhymes with fiancé.
All right, who is Beyonce? You know about Beyonce,
Beyonce,
Knowles?
she's the lead singer in Destiny's Child.
Really? What a very wonderful junior moment.
I just had the most amazing flashback and dream. Did you know the answer to that?
He knew the answer.
I think I want a very large bonus for
Give
that.
me a large bonus.
What's on a chapati?
Jesus.
Yeah, Christ on a... Is it Christ on a chapati?
Oh, it is. Christ on a chapati is the
yeah.
correct answer. And
It
this is the
was, it was
face
found
of...
in India.
Yes, the face of Jesus, which has miraculously appeared on a chapati in India.
It tends to do it in...
It doesn't look anything like Jesus.
But thousands of people.
This is rubbish.
There it goes. There, can you see it? That's it. Yeah.
Thousands of people have already come to worship at this miracle, and the priest has placed it on display.
Yes, but if you turn your head slightly, it looks like South America.
It looks more like Osama bin Laden than it does like Christ.
It does. Or Hagrid.
Oh, it does look like
I wonder if you know what John Prescott's view was of the fire strike 25 years ago, when there was the last time it happened.
Well, I think he was probably supportive of it, for the ironical way you're asking that question.
He probably said that the firefighters were a very important special case and they should be treated as a special case, very much so.
Absolutely right. Give that man a coconut. He said they're
Give that man a what?
A coconut, or whatever, the prize you get.
Not a coconut.
No, I'm going to have a point. Have several points.
Start giving out coconuts.
Have one, but have one.
Coconuts here.
That's a good way of scoring it, as any.
Yeah, OK.
We're one coconut ahead.
I'll have a coconut. I've changed my mind, boys. I will have a coconut.
We'll have to get the catering.
I bet I end up with less coconuts.
No, you never know.
I've got a lovely bunch.
Anyway, whether or not we can supply coconut or not, I don't know. But I'll tell you exactly...
So, hang on a minute. You're offering coconuts, and yet you have not... there's no facility to give me a coconut.
You're promising something you can't deliver, which is what you accuse the Labour Party of.
How do you know it? You say. How do you know that we can't deliver coconuts?
Well,
how do you know? I think it's completely wrong.
Okay,
I'm very well in with the catering department of this of Hat Trick Productions, and we are going to supply coconuts within a reasonable delay.
What's a reasonable delay?
Yes.
Well, with the rate they're going to get into power, about 20 years.
The show will now be staged at Alexandra Palace. And do you know why that is an appropriate venue?
Well, because it's a very big room that you can accommodate a big fashion competition. And you can get cameras in.
It's a very complicated question.
Oh, I know, because it doesn't burn very quickly.
It was the very first site of the very first second Miss World
This is a very
contest.
recondite piece of political...
What does that mean?
It means this is a tricky one.
Yes.
This is a tricky one. It's a tricky one. The answer is...
Street.
Street. Recondite's not a street.
OK, all right. The answer... You want to know the answer or not?
Yes.
Yes.
The answer is that...
I don't want to know the answer.
All right, who wants to know the answer?
No, I want to know
The answer is that it's... I'm in charge here. The answer is in the constituent...
Hang on, Boris.
I'm going to tell you the answer.
If that's the answer, what was the question?
I'm going to tell you the answer. I'm going to tell you the answer whether you like it or not.
Yes.
The answer is in the constituency of Barbara Roche, who is Minister for Women. That's why it's an appropriate venue. And well done, folks. And this was Paul. No, Paul.
Yes. I wanted Basil Brush. I wanted Basil Brush. I'm not sure we haven't got him.
What is the good news to emerge from this business?
I answered that, didn't I?
Yes.
The good news, we don't have pesticides on our grapes anymore.
Almost. No, the good news is the California grape season is nearly at an end, and the bad news...
Is it starting up again in a week's time?
The bad news is they're about to start shipping the grapes from Africa, so we're advised to look out for the occasional hippo. Not the strongest joke I've ever seen.
You sold it so well. Every comedian who's ever lived has always hesitated, looked down at a piece of paper, looked up and said the word hippo with a startled expression on his face.
I think the idea is trying to sell it as though it's your own material, Boris.
Right.
You're trying to distance yourself from it.
No, I'm not. I plant my
paid.
flag firmly on that joke. I want you to know I don't distance myself from it. Collective cabinet responsibility for that joke. Yes, this is the worrying news that deadly black widow spiders have been turning up in bunches of Tesco grapes. Some commentators have expressed surprise that the spiders had survived the long-haul flight from California, as with 8 legs, they're far more likely to develop deep vein thrombosis.
You happy with that joke?
I thought that was pretty good. I like that one. Sorry, I just want to assert my prerogatives as the host.
Right, let's get on with it.
I think we've done very well on the jury issue, and we had a very good, very good seminar on that. I just want to ask you now, as a panel.
I think somebody's talking in your ear.
That is outrageous. I just want to ask you, where do you think the business of reality TV can go? Where will it end?
Well, it could be you doing this show. No, you said reality TV. I'm convinced this is a dream. I don't know which one of us is dreaming it, but it's very convincing. Well, I don't know. In the end, I suppose you'll just watch, I don't know, people dying. I'm looking at you, Boris.
Big Brother is absolutely the right answer. And Did anybody
say that?
Well, someone said something. Listen, never mind. But we're getting there. We're moving irresistibly towards a conclusion. This week, as Celebrity Big Brother drew to a close, the public had to choose between Les Dennis and another TV personality, a decision Amanda Holden is all too familiar with. Whoever.
Do you know who either of them are?
I have to tell you that I'm no. Oh dear.
Well, I think that is worth a round of applause, because I'd have been disappointed if you'd had any idea who they
Well,
were.
I know, but I'm happy to be elucidated. But first of all...
Elucidated?
Can we tell...
I think you've been inoculated.
Come on, team, we've got to get a grip here.
Yeah.
First, but you've got every chance to make up ground in round 2, which we come to without delay, which is usually a tabloid headline round. But since I'm in charge, nominally, we're going to do something different and play a special brand new game called Kick Blair's Butt. Before we start, let's remind ourselves of the type of guy we're dealing with.
I think most people who have dealt with me think I'm a pretty straight sort of guy, and I am.
Well, we'll be the judge of that. Question. What is Tony Blair's favourite tune?
That's the first note of it, whatever it is.
I'll name that tune in one. Was it Barber's Adagio for Strings?
Is one of them.
Way the Lads.
My old man's a dustman. It depends on his audience, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well done. You get a point each, because the correct answer is, of course, it depends who's asking. He told Desert Island Discs it was Barber's Adagio for Strings. He told the rocket station Heart FM it was Where the Streets Have No Name by U2. And presumably he told Rave magazine it was Smack My Bitch Up by the
I think tonight we are defining surrealism.
Next question.
That's great.
Next.
Go on, sing a bit of it.
My children think it's called Smack My Picture, actually.
Let them be innocent.
Yes.
Next, what did Tony Blair achieve in less than 10 seconds on 10th April 1998?
He smacked his bitch up.
He did not. He did not. I'll hear many things against the Prime Minister, but he did not do that. He went back. Next question.
That was awfully good.
Yeah.
I'm terribly able to read this thing. It's so Next
If you're having problems, you can point it over here. Next.
But what I was asking you is, why did you make him Parliamentarian of the Year, then? You and your magazine made him Parliamentarian of the Year.
It wasn't so much kick Blair's butt as kiss it, really.
No, well, steady on. I think, I take your point. I would.
And it's a slightly odd decision, wasn't it?
It's all possible. The chances of my being made leader of the Conservative Party are about as high as
Ian Duncan Smith.
Ian Duncan Smith is a first-class leader of the Conservative Party and doing a great job.
He keeps that quiet.
And doing a great OK, this is the BBC, isn't it? Do you want me to go into anti-BBC auto rant?
Yes.
Yes, what is this? I mean, it's a miracle. I knew it was all too good to last. You let me have this kick Blair's butt thing.
Yeah.
No, it's all... And here we go again with the great... You know, you've got a government in power that is getting away with absolute murder, mayhem all around London.
A totally useless leader of the opposition who's letting him do it.
Nonsense. You've got a very effective opposition which is being grotesquely let down by the media.
They're laughing, Boris, they're laughing.
They are, and they're agreeing, they're clapping.
Yeah.
They're clapping. They are. Because you have a BBC which relentlessly fails to put over the Conservative case
just
by dint of such extreme manoeuvres as getting me to present this programme, that sort of thing, and not putting across, I think, that all the
So do you think getting you to
wrong.
present is a deliberate anti-Tory move?
Well, look, I think we're now in the higher realms.
Is it like you voting Tony Blair as Parliamentarian of the Year?
So would you like to tell me what you're going to do to provide those people with better facilities?
That's exactly what we're trying to do.
I hope you do, because it's absolutely appalling, and if you'd just like to go and have a look at it, then you'll find out just how terrible it really is.
I'm very sorry about the situation.
No, you're not very sorry, because if you was, you would do something about it. Yes, you're going to do something, can't you? But you're not, because you won't. Excuse me.
If I can just explain to you what I am going to try and do.
I say Elaine May, probably. She doesn't design shoes. Well, not Elaine May. What's her name?
Oh, Theresa May.
I think she's probably the odd one out. She doesn't design shoes.
Elaine May?
No, Theresa May has got a range of shoes made for her after her stunning performance with Boris at the Tory party conference.
The shop has brought it out, hasn't it, Dave?
Yeah,
I don't think she's involved.
Absolutely right. You both, between you, got the... I'll give you a point each.
Wait a minute.
No, well, I think you both got two components of the answer. They've all designed their own range. What? Will you forgive me? Will you forgive me? I'm just being reprogrammed here. OK.
Is that the producer trying to rig the score again?
He's trying to stop you getting given a point for saying something I just said.
No.
Yes. OK, stop. OK, stop. OK, silence. OK, stop.
He gave you
fingers on the buzzers. Fingers on the buzzers.
OK.
Stop. Which is the odd one out and why?
Dr. Martin will answer. That's the shoe
May's
question.
the odd one out because she doesn't design her own shoes.
No.
Is virtually Ian.
It's virtually Ian.
No, go on. I want to hear what Ian's got to say.
I'm a virtual character now. Well, I won't answer if that was right, because it'd be a waste of time. But
the answer is they all get money from shoes, apart from Theresa May, who's just famous for wearing the Conservative Party.
Well, she's not, though. She's had a range of shoes designed for her this week. That's what I was trying to say. Beckham has a range of shoes, boots. P. Diddy has leisure wear, and Elaine Hamilton... Christine has just eaten a spider.
Well done, well
it's
done.
Her.
That is more or less exactly the right answer. They've all designed their own range of clothing, except Theresa May, who was this week presented with
I was completely wrong then.
Designed pair of shoes by Russell and Brown. No, I thought you were right.
No, I said that answer you've just read out.
But Beckham doesn't design his own.
Boris, you edit a magazine?
He said he was right. He said
what on earth are the editorial meetings like?
No.
I don't know. Well, you have something good. I'll put it on paper. I think you should do that. I don't know. I have a biscuit. Cheese. Is it cheese? Oh, yes, you'll do that. Yes, yeah. What time is it now? Shall I go home? Oh, I'm here. Oh, right.
I don't edit a magazine about shoes, but I'm trying to be fair to all of you. You've all done exceptionally well on this question.
You turned into young Mr. Grace.
You both, in your own ways, got very close to the heart of the matter.
Oh, it's a non-competitive sports day.
That's right, and you're both on 12 points. I know it's very tense for you. And the answer is they've all designed their own range of clothing except Theresa May, who was this week. Shut up! Honestly, who was this week presented with a specially designed pair of shoes by Russell and Bromley.
Oh, yes.
So you've got the point. What's going on? We're in a time loop. You've seen that picture in the name of God.
Have you seen that one?
I've seen this. It's come up before.
Have you seen that picture before?
Yes. How'd you get a leopard to wear a pair of slacks?
Right, the answer is that they've all designed their own range of clothing except Theresa May. What's happening to me?
I've got the mixture of drugs wrong. That picture will come up again in a minute.
This is like a very, very cheap edition of Doctor Who, where he just travels around in the studio for a minute here, a minute there.
We've all got a life to lead, Boris.
I feel I'm just trapped in this thing where they keep making me read this same thing. It must be a bit like being Blair with one.
Start on this bit. This is good. This bit here. This is terrific.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're right, Boris. You're trapped in a time warp. Or the Conservative parties, it's normally
I thought you might say something like that. After Theresa May, very good though. After Theresa May said the Tories were widely perceived as nasty and uncaring. Can anybody? They're both men of straw. Can anybody remember what else Jack?
His blood sugar level's gone down.
What was the
50,000 volts through the chair, that should do it. Yes, well done, that's right. Why is my arse on fire? There's a reason for that. It's because I'm wearing a blazer. Here. Off you go. Have you not noticed that I'm an old Etonian as well, Boris? Old Etonian tie?
Yes, so it is. My goodness. Yes. Good for you. Yeah, that's right.
Do you not remember me there?
You were the chap
who shoved your head down the toilet.
Good God.
It's had a lasting effect.
You weren't wearing that earlier on, but you were wearing a different shirt too.
Yes, while you were talking, I took off my shirt, my tie, put another shirt, another tie on.
Now, what's that? Oh, sorry.
Are you receiving messages from beyond the grave? Does the name Elvis Presley mean anything to anybody? I'm going through to Simon. Yeah. Simon.
So here we go.
Britain must learn. Read it out, Boris.
Oh, sorry.
It's an audio-visual experience.
I'm following this.
TV is a visual medium, you're quite right. You shouldn't do that.
Sorry, I just thought I could relax for a second.
It's not the Houses of Parliament, you know. You can't just go to sleep.
Britain must learn to love.
Stop, you're not meant to... It's my auto cue.
Oh, sorry.
Britain must learn to love what?
Plumbers. Learn to love a plumber.
No.
The French.
Plumbers. But hang on, sorry, you are right. You're right. The answer is plumbers. So we've got the answers over here. It's Christmas trees.
Well done.
I don't know why. And lastly...
I don't know why.
It's obvious. They just fall over.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
All those needles falling down and the
They choke to death.
Yeah, they put their paws on it.
They get pine throats.
Yes.
But they don't have pine throats.
Yeah. Pine throat.
Pine throats.
Yes.
Nasty with rabbit with pine throats. Yeah. Terrible. Oh. Swells right up like that, pine throat.
But you know, they don't...
It's like the opposite of acupuncture. It's on the inside.
They'll be all right. They've got their lucky rabbit's feet to keep farming around. Do you still live in Islington as well, Boris?
Partly, yes.
Oh,
I don't think you live on the planet Earth. Never mind.
I do live in Islington.
A lot of it?
Do, yeah. No, I wish I did, but I don't. I think we should get off my my property. Paul, well done.
Well done, Paul.
So well done, Paul. It is a brave face, one he borrowed presumably from John Travolta.
How do you didn't know it was
That's a
called
joke.
Brown
That's a
Faces.
joke. No, it's a joke deriving from the very important film called Face Off.
Yes.
And the
Oh,
and the
Nicolas Cage.
You wouldn't want to get that
Yeah.
title slightly wrong, would you?
Yeah.
Four-letter word,
Oh, yes, I'm with you. Yes, I
Oh, yeah.
It just wouldn't occur to me to say something like that on a programme like this.
It's occurred to everybody else.
From the party that keeps its promises. Well done.
All right, this is Liam Gallagher, well-known dickhead. This is...
Believe it or not, women are liars.
50% of women have admitted that they have faked origami.
And also, apparently, these shoes cost £10.
Those shoes cost £10 unless they're for, like, a little baby or something.
Exactly, but I've never had to lie about what my shoes cost because I pay for them myself, so, you know.
So do I, Janet.
Hey, so do I.
And what other pointless survey has filled the newspapers this week?
Women share kidneys. That's why whenever they have to go to the loo, they always have to have two of them.
There was another one about the top 10 celebrity hairstyles of 2002.
Oh, yeah, Prince Harry's got in the number 6 or something.
Did Fred and I get on?
Actually, the worst haircut award went to somebody fairly obvious.
David Dickinson.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned him. He came fourth. But have you seen the Radio Times?
Oh, no.
Do you know, that has annoyed me all week.
Yeah, I hate to think what he's doing to that bear. It's something very smart.
Do you know what his real name is?
The Duke of Westminster?
Yeah.
Gerald something.
It is Gerald. Gerald Cavendish Grosvenor. Now, why is it... You know, it's spelt Grosvenor.
Yes.
Why is it pronounced Grosvenor?
To annoy you.
Thanks.
But it's for people who don't know to look ignorant.
Hmm.
It's like the name Cholmondeley Marshbanks or Farquharson. They're all spelt Cholmondeley Marjoriebanks, and if you don't know, you say it wrong, and the rest of us go, oh, how amusing.
So, are you seeing that... That's ha-ha-ha spelled H-A-U-G-H. George Bush lives up to his name. Says seen here with his private detective.
No, it's not. It's just a thicket.
What was it Cherie said that she wasn't in that speech?
She said I'm not Shirley Bassey.
Did you say that?
She did, Charles.
She didn't. I listened to it carefully.
I listened to it more carefully than you did.
This is the story about Michael Heseltine challenging for the leadership of the Labour Party.
You could take him, Charles.
Think so?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you could, don't you?
Oh, I think I could. Yeah.
OK, there we are. There's your headline. Charles Kennedy wants to attack Ian Duncan. Get in there early.
It's a website which
He looks really
offers
surprised.
tacky religious and Christmas gifts. We can have a look at some of these. There's a bobble-headed nodding Jesus.
That's Robin Cook.
Yes. Standing on a cow paddock.
Then, if it's your wish, you can have a Father, Son and Holy Ghost.
In Lego.
In Lego.
That is unbelievable. This is 1,000 years of theology and it looks like Casper.
And the Daily Mirror, it's been running some unorthodox... and the Daily Mirror's been running some...
I can hear that malt whiskey at work.
If you get pissed on the whiskey, don't go to a zoo. You'll end up being the father of an elephant. Every year, you issue these warnings...
Have you seen some of these unorthodox hangover cures?
If you are going to have
Daily
sex
Mirror?
with an elephant, use an inflatable cathedral as a condom.
You know it makes sense.
One way is rubbing lemon under your arm.
What are we talking about now? What, to make an elephant pregnant?
Apparently that's a much favoured Puerto Rico hangover cure.
How many fingers am I holding up?
I'm glad you're holding them that way.
There's an award every year given to the novelists who write most cringingly about sex.
In which case, have they all won it, except...
Randolph Fiennes, he's not won it, because his penis fell off when he went to the Norfolk Pole. Frozen.
The Norfolk Pole?
The Norfolk Pole. He was wandering around Yarmouth saying, I declare this land is British. Just outside the Co-op. And it was a cold snap, in every sense of the word.
Well, they've all been nominated for the Bad Sex and Fiction Award, except for Fiennes.
Oh, right.
But he starred as a metaphor in last year's winning entry.
Oh, really?
Her hand is moving away from my knee and heading north, heading unnervingly and with a steely will towards the pole. And like Sir Ranulph Fiennes, Pamela will not easily be discouraged. And when she reaches the North Pole, I think, in wonder and terror, she will surely want to pitch her tent.
And like the Norwegians got there first.
More at risk of a heart attack.
Oh, I don't believe it.
This is the medical...
Perhaps I think, Charles, you should represent Britain at an Olympic level. Have you ever been tempted to... Have you been asked to actually represent this country? I think you should.
No, I haven't yet.
I've got to say
I'm just wondering if there's any example of sporting prowess.
Next.
Can we see that bit of footage again, please?
Is this slow motion or is this real time?
Look, I was concentrating.
Where are you concentrating on?
That was just...
Is that what they call curling, Charles?
No, that wasn't curling.
That's toe curling.
It's what goes round.
That was just the warm-up.
So you had another go after that?
That was called going for the sympathy vote.
OK, so let's have a look at the other go that you had after that.
And finally, I haven't got a political message, I just...
appear on Have a Good News for You as chairman. What are we going to have next? Ian Duncan Smith, and they think it's all over. It is now, yes.
Assad.
Thank you. And what's his wife called?
Mrs. Assad.
Bunty?
No. Close.
She's from London, isn't she?
She's from Acton.
Is it Sarah?
Emma.
Emma, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, it's a secretary's name, that.
Any Emmas in who don't want to agree with that?
Oh, that will be...
Oh, just one.
Thank you, sir.
That was the sound of a typewriter. How will the hedgehogs be killed?
Hard-boiled eggs.
They're going to be shot.
So are you ordering room service?
No, you see, they take the eggs. They feed off the eggs of the birds.
So what's hard-boiling?
If you hard-boil them, they'll choke.
Yeah. I will.
You've got a very...
But you got little paws, they might be able to slap each other on the back. That'd be a sight worth filming, wouldn't it? Does David Attenborough know that we're going to be giving boiled eggs to hedgehogs?
He's going to be boiling the eggs.
Ah, well, there we are.
Are they going to shoot them?
Shoot hedgehogs?
Yeah, it wouldn't be difficult to
Are
catch
they going
them.
to hunt them with dogs on Boxing Day morning? Dressed in pink? That would be a nice sight.
Wouldn't it, Charlie?
You could hit them with croquet mallets.
So how are they going to kill them?
Lethal injection.
Lethal injection?
Well, they just poison the sources of milk.
Yeah.
It's a complicated one. How do you find a pit to get your needle in? Because I'm used to this.
And how do you know that you've already done... You might be doing the same one 4 times, you don't know. He goes round the rock and they say, look, you go out there again, you're dead anyway, you might as well... Give him the hard-boiled eggs, is the only way. This is Paul McCartney. He wants to get an accurate credit for all the Beatles songs, because when him and John Lennon started off, they made a sort of agreement that they would just split, call it Lennon and McCartney. But he now says that sort of like it's not strictly accurate, and that he wants it to be more like sort of the songs that he chiefly wrote should be composed by Paul Merton. Paul Merton. Paul Merton. I gave him a few hints.
Generous of him.
I gave him a few hints here and there, rhyme for kaleidoscope, that sort of thing.
There's a Beatles picture doing the round on the this week. You seen it?
No. Oh, that's interesting. Who's that in the top corner?
That's
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson owns the publishing rights to the
He
Beatles
does?
songs. Yes.
And then your uncle used to own the publishing rights,
Yes.
Sir Luke Grade.
Yes.
Why did you sell them?
Got a very good offer at the time.
Shut up about the Beatles now.
I haven't been talking about. He's
No,
the
you
one that's been.
Yes, well, I'm now taking charge of the situation
One
here.
word about the Beatles, I get shut
Shut up!
He's been talking for half an hour.
I know, he took me,
Very
you're the
unfair.
final straw that
Very
has broken
unfair.
the camel's back.
Very, very unfair.